Hey guys, Stephanie with AmericanMuscle.com here with the Mishimoto Performance Oil Cooler Kit for all 1979 and up Mustangs. An oil cooler is going to be a good idea for anyone that has a higher output engine or for someone that pushes their Mustang performance-wise, whether it be on a track or even on the street. This cooler from Mishimoto is a universal application, so it will work for any Mustang. Oil has two purposes, to lubricate and to cool. The cooling purpose of the oil is actually pretty important to the engine, and it plays a role into how well the oil can lubricate. If the oil is too hot, it breaks down and it won't lubricate as well. Won't have any cooling benefits, and it could also cause a big drop in oil pressure. When oil is routed through a cooler like this one right here, it drops a lot of heat. Now just like a rad, the hot oil enters the cooler, passes through the internal tubing that's covered by the fins, and as air passes over these fins, the heat dissipates and the oil is cooled. The amount of cooling that the oil cooler is capable of relates to how many passes through the cooler that the oil makes. The more passes through the cooling front, the more heat the oil will be able to dissipate. You do want to choose the proper size cooler for your setup though. You need to take into consideration things like power output, capacity of the oil system, the amount of airflow and space for the cooler, since it will need air passing through it in order to cool. This is a 19-row cooler with overall dimensions of 13 by 5.5 by 2. This makes the core a little over 11 inches long, so it's mostly core here. Now this isn't the largest available cooler that's out there, but it is a bigger unit than some. There's no sense in running a big cooler if you don't have the space for it to be effective. That being said, you don't want your oil temp to be too cool either. If the oil is too cool, it won't have the proper viscosity and it won't burn off the moisture that can collect in the oil. A sign of a really good oil cooler is one with a thermostat. The thermostat won't allow the oil to be cooled until it reaches the proper temp. This cooler does have a thermostat add-on, which I would recommend picking up since that's really the proper way to do this. Another important factor when it comes to the ability of the cooler is the size of the inlet and the outlet. Now, you don't want a size that's too small because that's restrictive and it's going to cause a drop in oil pressure. This cooler has 10 AN size fittings, which are on a bigger side in the case like this. So you're looking at a minimal pressure loss, and the fittings are also pre-assembled on stainless steel braided oil lines with dowty seals, which makes for leak-free connections. Like I touched on earlier, there are many benefits to keeping lower oil temps. Allowing oil temps to get to a proper temperature where it doesn't get too cold but it's not too hot will help with lubricating the internals. You won't run into oil breakdown issues where the pressure drops to a dangerous level, and you won't have to worry about viscosity either. They'll have longer oil life and a better protection for the internals. As far as price, you're looking at spending between $350 and $400 for this cooler. It does have a lifetime warranty and it does offer protection for the investment that you have in your car. So I wouldn't call the install here difficult, but you do need to have some technical knowledge. The cooler is going to come with items to help you mount it, but you can always fab up your own way of mounting this if you're so inclined. Since this is universal, there isn't one correct way to install this, but there are some tips I can give you to help make sure this thing isn't going to cause a ton of issues for you. You have to be a little bit careful with the install. If it's not done properly, you're going to be playing around with this thing to fix it, and it's not going to work as well as it should. The best place to mount the cooler is where it can receive the most airflow. The more airflow, the better in this case. The other thing you want to be careful about is running the lines from the cooler to the motor. The best place to tap into the oil supply is usually right at the oil filter, and you want to make sure your lines are straight as possible. Overall, you're looking at a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the scale and about 2 or 3 hours of your time to get this installed. Wrapping things up here, this oil cooler from Mishimoto Performance is a universal application cooler that can offer some great benefits for the Mustang. It's going to work to keep the oil at a more optimal temperature so that it can function better and both lubricate and cool the engine. As always, you can check it out more online right here at AmericanMuscle.com.